In the headlines, 2 rescued, others trapped in another Lagos building collapse. Supreme Court dismisses suit to compel PDP to zone presidency to southeast. 10 dead in Gombe cholera outbreak. And on the foreign scene, U.S. aircraft carrier arrives in South Korea as warning to North. Hello and welcome to Trust News Update. I'm Dashan Husseina Usman. And now the news in detail. A yet-to-be-identified person and a child have been rescued from the rubble of a 3-story building that collapsed on Shonuga Street, Palm Avenue, Mushin area of Lagos State. Lagos Territorial Coordinator, National Emergency Management Agency, Ibrahim Fariloye, who confirmed the development, said the rescue operations are still ongoing. Permanent Secretary, Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, Olufemi Oke Osanyo-Olu, who had also confirmed the development, said 2 female occupants were still missing. He added that there are visible cracks on the remaining buildings adjoining the collapsed one, noting that if not urgently worked on, the remaining building will also collapse. The Supreme Court has struck out a suit instituted against the People's Democratic Party seeking to enforce the zoning and rotational policy in the 2023 presidential election. In a unanimous judgment delivered by Justice Adamu Jaworo on Friday, the court struck out the suits on grounds of lack of jurisdiction to entertain it. The presidential aspirant of PDP and former Deputy Speaker of Abia State House of Assembly, Cosmos Ndukwe, had instituted the suit against his party, praying for an order of the court to compel it to uphold the zoning and rotary policy of the party. Specifically, the presidential aspirant sought for an order of the court to compel PDP to zone the nomination of its presidential candidate to the southeast geopolitical zone of the country. However, Justice Jaworo dismissed the suit on the grounds that the nomination of candidates for election was an internal affair of political parties. Former Minister of Youth and Sports Solomon Dalong has confirmed or stormed the Chief Magistrate Court 4 in Yola, Adamawa State, to seek justice for Lawan Uba, who was remanded for over 40 days. Lawan Uba, an Adamawa-based politician, has been in detention for allegedly insulting Governor Amadu Umaru Fintiri. Silas Lawan has the report.
The immediate past minister noted that as a Nigerian citizen who always stands for justice, he cannot afford to allow a fellow citizen to be denied justice, saying that Lawan ought not to have been in prison because the offense is bailable in nature. He challenged Adamawa State Judiciary to rise up and ensure that the justice delivery system is not in any way compromised or allowed to be politicized, and vowed to ensure justice for the detained politician.
I am satisfied that justice will be done ultimately based on the argument I have listened and the presentation made before the church. I have confidence in the judiciary in Nigeria. They remain the bastion of the common man.
A.A. Lawan Uba was arraigned before the Chief Magistrate Court, presided by Magistrate Aminu Abdul Qadir Maiha, for defamation of character and several other offences which he denied committing. Lead counsel to the defendant, Robert Mosif Ave, argued that the comments made by his client were not defamatory.
We are submitting that from the evidence led by the prosecution, that is the state, the Commissioner of Police, no prima facie case has been made against the defendant to warrant the court calling on him to open a defense. In a situation like this, if the court is calling on the defendant to open a defense where there is no evidence which discloses any case against him, it's akin to asking the defendant to prove his innocence, which is contrary to the Constitution. My client should be patient, and the public should also be patient. We wait for the outcome of the ruling, and then from there, we'll advise them on the next step.
However, the prosecution counsel declined to comment, saying he needed clearance from his superior before speaking to the press. A.A. Lawan Woba has been in detention after he was accused of sharing videos in which he claimed Governor Fintri betrayed those who helped him win the 2019 election. Meanwhile, the State Magistrate Court 4 has adjourned till Monday, 26 September 2022 for ruling on no case submission filed by counsel to the defendant, A.A. Lawan Woba. Salis Lawan, Trust TV News, Yola.
An unnamed man said to be an undergraduate of a university within Anambra State has allegedly killed his father and mother. Meanwhile, the Anambra State Police Command said it has launched a manhunt for the alleged killer while the decomposing bodies have been recovered and deposited in the morgue. Nigeria has lost property worth 3 trillion naira to fire incidents in 2021, despite huge amounts of money spent to fund firefighters. The perception of some Nigerians, however, is that the firefighting agency in the country is not effective. Ibrahim Ismail examines factors responsible for incessant fire outbreaks in Gombe State and files in this report.
According to the Gombe State Fire Service, the use of substandard equipment, electrical and cooking products, and negligence of safety protocols are some of the main causes of incessant fire outbreaks in the state. Speaking on the perception of Nigerians over alleged inefficiency by the firefighters, the Deputy Operation Officer, Gombe State Fire Service, Idris Musa Kwame, said they operate amid multiple challenges, including trafficked and obsolete equipment.
The problem we used to encounter during our services is that if you can call a fire from one direction to another, like say I'm here at Tenduku and you call me over the phone that fire at BCJ, you are expected to reach that fire from here Tenduku to BCJ within 5 minutes because we are using siren. That's to claim the right of the way. We are moving speedy because of what? Maybe it is either life or huge properties is involved in that particular incident. That's the essence of our quickness. You understand? But the challenge is that the motorists.
He called on authorities to strengthen their efficiency by providing modern equipment.
Yes, you know, the demand of the worker will not be above of what he requires for his own work. The equipment, our fire trucks, and our other material that we can be using it for both emergency and non-emergency activities.
One of the most burning questions is, are Nigerians really aware of fire safety tips?
The major precautions that I would take in my home to prevent fire outbreak is whenever I'm going out or whenever I'm not using my appliances, I used to off them. I will make sure that they are off. So if I'm going out of the house, I will make sure that every socket in my house or any appliances, even the socket doesn't contain any appliances that is connected, I will make sure that I off them completely before going out.
Kamar yanzu muna amfani da gawayi ne, mukan kashe gawayin mu.
We are using charcoal for cooking. We put them off and electrical appliances before going to bed. We only leave the fan. This is what we do to prevent fire outbreak. Although federal government said it undertook a 10.4 billion naira infrastructure upgrade in 2021, experts believe that observing fire safety protocols can drastically reduce the rate of fire outbreaks in the country. From Gombe, Ibrahim Ismail reporting for Trust TV.
Some motorists in Lagos have urged the state government to give proper orientation to its personnel saddled with the task of traffic regulation across the state. They also want more public awareness created over traffic management and control. Abbas Dalibi now reports.
Road traffic regulators across the country are supposed to make enforcement of traffic rules more effective. Some motorists in Lagos says that the traffic regulators are more focused on generating revenue through multiple fines on infractions, many of which motorists are not aware of.
The essence of traffic is to control human behaviors, create free flow of movement of vehicles. But what they are doing, they are even adding more injury to more suffering to the injury. They even cause more traffic. You see, and causing more traffic is, you are not even preventing safety. You are abusing the security and the safety of the road users, because a situation whereby a law enforcement is dragging just because a simple correction that they should do.
Even last month, I paid 10,000 naira. Why I pass Ikeja along? No, now only Okada with the band. Say make Okada no apply express. But our own, nobody abandoned us. So almost throughout last week, there's very serious issue for that place. But sometimes there's serious traffic. You need to concentrate on the traffic. They're on target. Immediately you get a little bit mistake, they are going to take you. There's nothing like say whether maybe you don't know or you know. They don't hold it.
People will now block us on the road that we are following express. Like about 3 months ago, they caught about 4 tricycle and they collected 40,000 naira from each tricycle, which has no account.
But Lagos State government has justified its recent action of 134 impounded vehicle owned by traffic violators in the state. The action attracted mixed reactions from Nigerians, with some describing it as harsh. However, the Commissioner for Justice and Attorney General of the state, Moyosore Onigbanjo, insisted that the action followed due process.
When you are wrong, you need to be guided, you need to be informed, you need to be corrected. But all what they're after, they want even you to make that mistake so that they can make more money from you. And it's an abuse. It is obvious now is that it's either to generate more money to the government or more money for their pockets.
With what they are doing now, they are not for us at all. They are just there for their own pockets. For what they are doing presently, they are not for the safety of the members of the community. So if they can take them away from the road and at least reorganize another body that will take care of the road for the road safety, I think that one will be better. They should give them orientation. They should know why they are there. Since they don't know why they are there, they are just there for business, making money to their pocket, frustrating people. If they see Marwa, they catch. If they see Korokwe, they catch. Unnecessarily.
Abbas Ibrahim Alibi, Trust TV, Lagos.
The Lagos State Government is collaborating with the Lagos Urban Development Initiative to observe the first ever car-free day in Lagos this Sunday, September 25, 2022. The move is to encourage road users and motorists to set aside their cars for a day and take up active and inclusive means of transport such as cycling and walking, known as non-motorized transport. Disclosing this on Friday in a statement signed by the spokesperson of the Lagos Ministry of Transportation, Bolanle Ogunlola, the state said that traffic will be diverted around Alausa Ikeja as cyclists will utilize Governor's Office Road through Mobolaji Johnson Avenue to mark the event, while about 400 meters of the Governor's Avenue will be closed for the event. The Lagos State Commissioner for Transportation, Frederick Oladeyinde, explained that the aim of the initiative was to create awareness about the benefits of non-motorized transport, including reduced environmental pollution. He added that the initiative will also reduce insufficient physical activity and sedentary behavior to promote the health of the people, regardless of their ages. Residents in Jigawa State say the flood witnessed in the state this year is the worst they have seen in recent time. The residents spoke to Trust TV correspondent Idris Jibrin that the flood is submerging many farming communities, destroying crops and houses across the state, raising fear of food shortages. His report.
For 2 long weeks, flood water have covered large part of Jigawa State. Farmland and damaged roads have become temporary fishing grounds. Like now, I'm fishing here. If God help me to get enough, I will go and sell. If I couldn't get so much, then I'll just take it home for my family to eat. With their crops rotting underwater, their homes and schools submerged, many affected farming communities are now taking refuge in the nearby government facilities. Authorities say hundreds and thousands of them have seen this year's harvest wiped out.
Then the rainfall started, And as a result of the rainfall, there was a heavy rainfall about 3 days in Jigawa State. That rainfall affected all the local governments because the rainfall was there everywhere in the 27 local governments we have. So as a result of that rainfall, so many houses and so many people were killed.
In our local government area alone, authorities say thousands of farmlands have been washed away and that over 400,000 people are affected by the flood disaster.
Definitely there is going to be a food shortage because, as I am telling you, 60% of the food that we are getting in this entire northern Nigeria is from this Hadejia axis. Now the farmlands have been washed away, therefore we could not get anything.
For now, things are getting more complicated. Hundreds of villages are being submerged, farmlands washed away, and farmers say they fear the worst.
Houses are gone, farmlands are gone. What do we eat? You can see that we don't have homes, we don't have, our farms have been washed away, so what do? There is no food for us to eat. If the irrigation farming comes, we don't have money to buy the fuel for the irrigation. What do? 1 bag of maize is 20,000 naira. 1 bag of fertilizer is 25,000 naira. What do you think we should do?
While residents continue to flee for safety, the flood waters continue to take over the entire Hadejia Emirates. There are growing concerns that things could get worse in the next coming days. Idris Jibrin, Trust TV News, Jigawa.
You're watching Trust News Update, coming up after the break. Wealth creation through waste collection. Do stay with us.
TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. Let's take a look at some of our top stories. We told you that 2 rescued, others trapped in Lagos building collapse. We also heard that Supreme Court dismisses suit to compel PDP to zone presidency to Southeast. Moving to more news, watch repairers, also known as horologists, are facing extinction, especially with the advances being made in the production of mobile phones. Advances in technology means less people are using wristwatches and clocks, which may spell doom for the craft. Jimmy Edzande spoke to the repairers in Makurdi who lamented the situation.
The watch repairers are of the view that the invention of mobile phone was not in their best interest. Rather than upgrade, some have abandoned the trade while others have diversified to be able to pay bills.
I've been in the business for quite some time now. And however, the way the thing is now, it's not like before in terms of patronage and customership. Because unlike before when they breaks, you know that before 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock, thereabout, you know how much you are supposed to have in your pocket. But now, at times you use a whole year, whole month, you cannot even recover anything. Unlike before, we don't used to have handsets, all these gadgets, we don't use them. But now, due to all those things now, the patronage of wristwatch repair has gone drastically down. As a result of that, we have to diversify.
Some of the repairers have requested that timepieces be removed from the phones to make way for their jobs.
So why would they get to work before? Now the thing, they like that. Because handset now is plenty. Many of people wearing you wear wristwatch, now they know they wear that. Like before you go see one person with a 5 watch, 4 watch, 3 watch. But now, they like it before.
The wristwatch business is moving before. No matter, moving faster. The volume of the wristwatch business is way increased before. But right now, I don't know. It is where assets come out. People know normally. I'm telling them I'm repairing, both the two. But this is where handset come out. It doesn't move like before. I don't know the reason whether the company but handset can able to remove the time for wristwatch.
On their part, residents of Makurdi gave divergent views on wristwatches. Some feel the fashion is outdated, while others say the wristwatches serve a unique function.
So the reason why I don't have a wristwatch is because these days wristwatches have become more of a fashion item. Because you have your phone, you can always take a glance at it and know exactly what time it is. Phones have become everything. It's your planner, it's your calendar, you don't need to hang a calendar in your office anymore. Just like you don't necessarily need a wall clock or a wristwatch.
The watch is my fashion that I used to tie always. Even if this one spoiled today, in the next 3 hours, I'll still look for a wristwatch because it has cost my blood. At times, the phone may shut up, the battery may go down, and you still have your wristwatch at your hand. You don't need of asking your colleagues what says the time before you. There are some phones, if they are not set by the network, it is not all the place that you can, when the battery has got shut down before you set the watch of the phone, it will be difficult. But if you are with the wristwatch, you can know the time throughout.
Once upon a time, wristwatches were essential to fashion, but that was before the mobile phone era. At the moment, it appears most people have stopped using them and the repairers are suddenly going into oblivion.
Nigerian youths have expressed willingness to embrace waste collection and turn it into wealth as an alternative means of livelihood to stimulate economic growth. Participating youth said this during a 4-day basic business training on entrepreneurship development scheme in Bauchi. Adamu Imam completes the report.
These youths were carefully selected to develop their capacity through waste-to-well value chain. They pledge to be a reference to government effort in creating jobs for economic well-being of the people.
Before we thought that waste is just thing that you can just throw away. But through the training we got, we realized that everything is important. All the waste can be recycled and we can get a lot of things through them.
Earlier, the head of small-scale business development, Jibril Muhammad, draws the attention of the beneficiaries to be very creative by grabbing the opportunity given to them.
We get order from the headquarters when they come for interview, solution, they happen to get that some people were not ready to do the training. Then we replace them. So the challenges is that we lack of putting more attention to some trainees. But at least the rating you see here, they really they're putting more attention. So that's the only challenge we have.
Lawal Yahya, State Coordinator, National Directorate of Employment, asked the beneficiaries to be more creative in the value chain business.
Basic senior secondary school education, so that by the time we train them, we know that they are going to be employers of labor tomorrow. And employers of labor, those that are scavenging in the waste areas, they can employ them so that they can go and scavenge, get the raw material for them. They will come and buy. When they buy it, then they will transform it into useful items.
However, the directorate urged the participants to avail themselves to learn more on theory and practical aspects so that they can harness ideas on the business plan management. Adamu Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
In health, cholera outbreak in some parts of Gombe State has led to the deaths of 10 people. The State Ministry of Health, who confirmed the outbreak, said it affected 5 local government areas of the state with over 200 confirmed cases. Executive Secretary of the State Primary Healthcare Development Agency, Dr. Abdurrahman Shaibu, said the state government has activated an immediate response plan across 11 local government areas of the state. He said the action in all the local government areas became necessary for the prevention and management of cholera outbreaks in the state. Despite it being President Muhammadu Buhari's last appearance at the United Nations General Assembly, his support is still being sought, as demonstrated by the bilateral meetings he has been involved in on the sidelines of the international event. 2 of such meetings were with the President of Palestine, Mahmoud Abbas, and Mahamudu Issoufou, former president of Niger Republic and special envoy of the UN and African Union on joint strategic assessment and governance situation in the Sahel. Kehinde Amodu reports.
President Muhammadu Buhari's speech on the floor of the United Nations General Assembly still reflects that some of the positions adopted by his administration from the onset have not changed. One of such positions is his support for the two-state solution to the crisis between Israel and Palestine, which he believes can be aided by a closer partnership between African countries and their Arab partners. At a bilateral meeting with the President of Palestine, Mahmoud Abbas, in New York, President Buhari said the actualization of the UN resolution would require a platform to think creatively on how to engage the rest of the world on the matter. The Palestinian president, who appreciated his Nigerian counterpart for being a consistent supporter of the Palestinian cause, also solicited Buhari's support by rallying other African countries to their side. President Abbas said Palestinians had decided to pursue a peaceful path towards resolving the matter by relying on nations like Nigeria to help in attaining the two-state solution. President Buhari also met with Mahamudu Issoufou, former president of Niger Republic and special envoy of the UN and African Union, on joint strategic assessment and governance situation in the Sahel. President Buhari assured the special envoy of the support of Nigeria in the discharge of its assignment, which will focus on seeking political and economic solutions to issues confronting countries in the Sahel. The former Nigerian leader had informed President Buhari that Nigeria's support was needed to raise funds for the assignment. Reporting the president at Onga, Kehinde Amodu, Trust TV News.
And finally, away from Nigeria, the nuclear-powered aircraft carrier USS Ronald Reagan has arrived in South Korea ahead of joint military exercises that is seen as a show of strength amid growing North Korean threats. The Ronald Reagan and ships from its accompanying strike force docked at a naval base in southern port city of Busan on Friday. The arrival marks the most significant deployment yet by Washington under a new push to have more U.S. nuclear-capable strategic assets operate in the region to deter North Korea. Joint military drills in the coming days will be the first involving a U.S. aircraft carrier in the region since 2017, when the U.S. sent 3 aircraft carriers, including the Reagan, for naval drills with South Korea. And with this, we've come to the end of Trust News Update. Don't forget to follow us across all our social media platforms. I'm Dashin Husseina Usman. Thanks for watching.